Okay, good evening and welcome to the Almont Community Schools Board of Education work session on Tuesday, May 12th, 2026. We will call this meeting to order at 6 o'clock p.m. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mr. Burrow, you do roll call, please.
Mr. Burns? Here. Ms. Ankle?
Here.
Mr. Wade? Here. Mr. Burrow? Here. Ms. Rotarius? Ms. Axel? Mr. Eckert? Here. Ms. Smith?
Here.
6 members present.
Thank you, Mr. Burrow. Adoption of the agenda. Mrs. Von Houtmeyer, any additions?
We do have an addition. We have one under policy number 8. We're going to add approval of teacher change in pay.
Thank you. Any deletions?
No deletions.
Any amendments?
Yes, just to bring to your attention, we have an additional resignation and resignation letter, and I also provided you a sheet on my kit in front of you, just so that you had it for reference as I go through that.
Thank you. Brings us to communication. Mrs. Von Houtmeyer.
Okay. Well, it is definitely my honor and privilege to welcome Mrs. Walker here to the front so she can present and provide some information on the L&L Education Foundation. As you are aware, Board, L&L continues to support us in many avenues, especially with our STEAM and STEM over the years. I believe Mrs. Walker is going to present that number. Yep. And also, I've had the privilege of serving just recently, last week, serving on the L&L Education Foundation Scholarship Committee, which also involves some of our students. So I'm very happy and honored to be a part of the L&L team. So thank you so much, Gina, for being here and sharing your information. As we're going to be in a lot of transition, I just thought this would be very timely because, of course, we want to continue. I'm sure Almont Community Schools wants to continue the partnership, years and years.
Well, Almont is unique in the sense that Bob Ligon and Jean Lane, who are our original founders, they've committed to $20,000 STEM grants to your district forever. So Almont will continue to receive that in their honor. They're both deceased now, which is very sad. They were wonderful people, but they really cared about this community and they want to continue assisting you. So if that alleviates any stress from anyone in the room, that is a continued STEM grant fund will continue on. So anyway, I'm Gina Walker, and I'm the Accountant and Program Officer for the L&L Education Foundation. I work for, of course, L&L Products, the proper company, and we strive to be a good place for all who touch it. So this is one of our original founders, Bob Ligon, and these are his words that you can see on the screen. I'm sorry, I don't have my glasses. I'm going to read it from here. It says, "You did it. You made it happen. The best thing we've got is you, our people, our extended family." This sign and this sign as well of these two gentlemen are prominently displayed in our engineering department so that we can continue to remember their commitment to us as employees. Bob and I both have great love for our people. They're the folks who show up every morning and make things happen and make the business work. So because of that, we have a very extensive benefits program. We have no out-of-pocket medical cost. We have an on-site medical facility where we have a nurse practitioner with no co-pays. We have the availability of common prescriptions for like blood pressure, cholesterol, diabetes. We also have an on-site counselor. All of this is free to us. We give education grants for employees, spouses, and children for post-secondary education. That's my job. We also have a pretty lucrative 401k and profit sharing program. We live by these 8 core values, which are honesty and respect, creativity, innovation and entrepreneurial spirit, consistency and fairness, success defined in our terms, authority, responsibility, and obligation to listen, pride and belonging, the importance of our partner relationships, which is you, and good citizens in our communities. And that's why I'm here tonight. So in addition to giving scholarships to our employee family members, we have, Bob and Jean were so generous, we now have this extra pool of money that we give STEM grants to 18 local school districts where the majority of our employees live. You will see one location in Lexington, one South Carolina. We have a plant down there that our product we manufacture there is called Desitex, so we do support that school district as well. Since 2015, Almont has received $96,000 from our STEM grant program, but Jean and one of Jean's daughters, Sue, used to give personal grant money to the district before we started the STEM program, so you've received $278,000 total, including those individual contributions. So Almont's very lucky. The other schools have not received this much, so you guys are very special in the hearts of L&L Products. So we are a worldwide company. We were founded in 1958. We went overseas in 1996. We have substantial locations in Brazil, China, Turkey, India, France, and Czech Republic. You will see the dots on the world map. We do have facilities in other locations, but these are primarily where we have functioning plants. So our products are designed to be stronger, lighter, and quieter. We have heat-activated chemistries, ambient cure chemistries, engineered nonwovens, and targeted structural reinforcements. Today I've brought an example of heat-activated chemistries as well as targeted structural reinforcements. So our first application is for sporting goods, and these are our pickleball paddle applications. So this is actually what we consider our part. So this is an L&L product, which these are our pellets. They are melted down to create this piece and cut to the size of that tool that you see up on the screen on the left. Then it's sent through a heating process, it expands, and it becomes this, which is our foam core. On its own, this can be broken, but once you add face sheets, edge wrap, and or edge guard and handle wrap, this becomes a lighter, quieter, really strong, capable paddle ready for market. So we're really excited about this application because pickleball is really popular right now. And one of the biggest challenges for pickleball courts is that the honeycomb technology that was used before foam existed created a really loud pop sound. So communities didn't want these pickleball courts in their communities until we came out with the foam core paddle. So this isn't unique to us. There are other foam core suppliers out there, but we're really excited about this. The other example I brought to show you. Okay, so these products, I can pass these around because my husband was worried that you would break them. He works in it too. But this is another application. The black is nylon. We create that. We buy the nylon. We create that. The pink is actually our part. Okay, so this would be in any of parts of your vehicle where you need to be structurally sound. So if you got into a rollover accident and you survived, you can thank L&L Products, because when our products are heated through the heating process, once they get to the factory, it becomes like cement. So on each side of your windshield in your car, and we're in almost every vehicle out there, that's where you can see our products. So our CFO says if you see us, you've had a really bad day. So you probably will never see our products, but I'll pass. Another interesting fact is I'm one of actually 10 couples that work at L&L, so they don't shy away from allowing family members to work there, which I love. Another application for our in situ core product is our commercial vehicle heat shield. This shield protects passenger compartments from engine and exhaust heat and blocks road noise, and it's 50% lighter than what was previously being used, which really helps in the manufacturing process. So that was a huge win for us. And that's all I have for you today. Does anyone have any questions for me?
Gina, yeah. I do. Yeah. Do you have any information or anything that you could share? I know obviously there's other programs such as Manufacturing Day for like the students or staff that you offer, which is another connection. By the way, this is wonderful. It gives us an idea of like what L&L Products is. Yeah. So we appreciate that presentation for sure. But I know again that you have a couple programs that also connect the schools. So Manufacturing Day, and also I wanted to do a shout out again for the community service that you guys provide. Jay Krosick did reach out when I was at the meeting last week, offering, and I connected with Jason Frederick. He's our buildings and grounds, facilities and maintenance director, and Jay did say he's interested in doing that community service and mulch project
we
again
would love
this
to
summer.
do that. We have previously been doing it in other communities, but we'd love to service our local school districts because we want to be more than just money. So if there's anything you have a need in your district that we can come, like in East China, I did an extrusion display with Play-Doh, which was really fun, and my table was really popular. At first they're like, oh, that's just Play-Doh. And then I said, no, we're professional extruders coming over here. And that was at the elementary level. Then we did a math and science class one time. We took some of the smart people from L&L Products, and I went to Imlay City, and we did a couple of different grade levels, and we did a presentation on that. That was very successful as well. So if there's a need, we have so many smart people at L&L that I can bring and help. Whatever you guys need.
Is your manufacturing day always the same? I'm sorry, I can't recall that.
That's
Is
through
it
the
the same
county.
month?
So
Is it the
Macomb
same-
County sets that up, and yes,
Okay.
it's usually around the same time of the year. But
Okay.
I can do tours at any time.
Okay.
So I have Port Huron coming at the end of the month at 3:30. We'll do smaller tours as well. So we have them coming, and I just have my husband doing that tour. And then we have another tour, I think Scott Laura's doing that one. So we don't have to limit it to manufacturing days. So if we want to make it a little more personal, like if your board just is interested in seeing what L&L is all about, we would love to have you and bring you in and whatever you want.
That's
Yeah.
great. No, thank you very much, and thank you for being here.
Yeah.
Do you guys, does Almont do any type of, online like job sharing with high schools, or do you work with like, seniors who maybe, like some of our seniors go to what we call ed tech and whatnot? Do you have any programs where you're starting to move that route?
We do not at this time. We do have internships for college level students to come in, but we have not branched out because we have so many safety regulations and things. It's hard for us to bring in the younger students, but we do take them through on tours if they want to come, or, we'll attend like, you guys have like nights where you have job fairs or things like that. We do a lot of those kinds of things, but not really on site for high school students. Yeah.
Thank you for everything that you guys do. We really, really appreciate it. Thank
Oh,
you
no,
so
it's a joy. Yeah, I wish it was my money. It's not, but I will, I will communicate that thank you to the family, because they really, I took a couple of family members to Romeo recently, and you can just tell how special it makes them feel to be able to help educate our future workforce. So we're committed to it, and yeah. Anything else?
No, Gina, just again, a profound, as you know, profound, ever since we've been working with them now, it's just it's a game changer. It's a profound difference in our STEM and STEAM, as you know. Like actually this building, when I was middle school principal, when this first started, just the PLTW programming itself was huge. And then it was, just trickling up actually to the high school and trickling down to elementary. So just can't thank you enough. Thank you very much.
No, you're welcome. I wish that we could do as much as we've done for you guys, for everybody, and I'm really happy that it's helped your education system. So thank you.
It really has. Thank you, and thank you for being here, Gina.
Yeah,
Thank
no
you.
problem.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
The gifts too. They're very kind of you.
Thank you.
Our next communication is going to be with Mr. Zach Zimmerman, our athletic director, in this capacity tonight. So thank you for being here.
Thank you. Thank you, Gina.
Thank you so much. Nice to meet you as well.
You want me in front and center? Doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter.
Front
Yeah.
side.
You have a loud, human voice, you can stand right
I have
on.
a very loud voice, I promise. Okay. Today I was asked to present about some of the facility needs from our coaches, as well as talk about some of our spring sport updates. Possibly. Never mind. Okay, our athletic coaches were asked to identify current facility needs. The main summary of those needs: field and court maintenance, irrigation and drainage concerns, storage limitations, safety and appearance upgrades, and then long-term facility planning. Boys tennis, Mr. Machiniak stepped into that role this year with his wife Melissa, who's currently a secretary at our middle school. They did a phenomenal job with our boys tennis program. We are hurting for numbers there, but hoping to continue to grow that program. He's trying to get more involved in the middle school and try to do some of that through middle school athletics and try to grow that interest at a young level. One of the bigger things when I got put into this district as well was running a youth camp with both boys and girls coaches and trying to continue that on. Still plans on doing that. His email back to me was very, very doable, and it was just essentially weed treatment with the courts. And that's something that we were not currently doing, at least prior to me or in my 2 years here. Once again, if you don't know, you don't know. Jason, Mr. Frederick, and I have talked about that, and I definitely think that's something that we can add in for next year. We talked about doing it in later July. That was basically the only thing. And then obviously trying to get maintenance or lawn care through and just weed whack that area as well. So very simple, easy ask there. Girls tennis, and that's that one. I know it's the sore subject in the room as well, but girls tennis, Coach Bishop, brand new this spring. He has a daughter on the team. Girls tennis is doing phenomenal. You'll see that in the spring sport update here soon. Obviously replacing the courts. And, I think that one kind of goes hand in hand with where we're at there. They're playable right now. We're hosting home matches. I have not heard one complaint as an athletic director outside of one time one of our coaches, one of the coaches from another school mentioned, they're not great, but they're playable. And that was the only thing that I heard in a negative capacity towards the courts. So, softball. I missed one. Sorry. I knew I missed one. Varsity football. All of Mr. Lusby's expressions were based on that practice field. Practice field is very uneven. Potential widening of the practice field. Obviously, you're right up to that gate on the side closest to the stadium. And then obviously, the main thing when him and I spoke in person on this was trying to figure out some type of irrigation sprinkler system instead of hooking in and him manually having to do that, or Mr. Frederick assisting and manually having to do that out at that practice field. That practice field is dry as a bone year in and year out. Just kind of like similar to that area when you walk from that back maintenance garage out to those softball fields through the gate over there, that area of grass heading out to that softball facility, Mrs. Vaughn and I walked it, I think in fall this year, and I looked at her and I go, JV football is practicing in this area sometimes. I go, stop your foot. And it's hard as rock. So trying to get some type of, I know that's that area, not the football practice field, but trying to get some type of irrigation sprinkler system. I'm not an expert in that field. I can't comment too much more than that, but trying to get something figured out there. I believe Mr. Frederick said he was going to look into seeing what we could do there in regards to getting water on that field more efficiently. Girls tennis we talked about. Softball. Mr. Forty's biggest thing is, Mr. Lacavera was our prior coach, and he had people that would drag the fields, and he had a lot of extra help to help keep that facility up. Mr. Forty does not have all that extra help. So, his main thing when speaking to him in person was trying to figure out, something to possibly add in a lawn care contract or something in regards to dragging that field. To coincide with that, he also talked about the batting cage. There's a huge eyesore next to our varsity softball field. It goes along that line there as you walk by the tennis courts, and it's an old batting cage, or what was left of it, essentially. And like he said, I don't care if we rip it out at this point or we build. I'd love to build a beautiful batting cage so we have that. But at this point, let's rip it out if we're not going to do that. So that's where that stood, and then dugout repainting. Working with youth softball. Youth softball is going to be doing a lot of the youth field as well as the JV softball field with the dugouts. Trying to work through and seeing what we can do in a community type day to get those varsity dugouts painted as well. Baseball, this one's going to be kind of a multi-tiered thing. Mr. Campbell sent me about a 3-page paper, so I tried to do my best to summarize that. I could share that post this meeting. I promise you I meant to. I realized just right now I forgot to. So I can share that after this meeting. But the major concerns, just want to make sure I didn't miss a slide. Major concerns there, poor drainage and hard clay base beneath the field. Kind of similar amongst a lot of these sports areas that we have on campus here in Almont. Lack of permanent irrigation system, you're going to hear that come up again. Difficulty sustaining healthy turf growth, fungus moss development indicating soil issues, and then heavy weed growth in skinned areas. Mr. Campbell and I talked about trying to control some of those weeds and things that we can do different moving into next year. Totally in the budget, totally doable. Obviously some of these other things are a little bit more on the pricey side. Mr. Campbell, before I continue on with this, I've never seen a coach put more time and energy into a facility that has nothing to do with it. He coaches here, obviously, and that's great, but the time and energy he puts into that facility and maintaining that baseball facility is second to none. I've never seen someone do what he does. He's up here and he has luxuries sometimes with his job, which obviously makes that a little bit more doable, but he's up here at 11 o'clock on a game day getting the field ready to go. If it's raining, everybody else will cancel in the area and he'll be like, Zach, I'll get that field ready to go, I promise. And time again, that field's ready to go. So I just want to give him a little bit of a shout out there in regards to everything he does for field maintenance at that baseball field. Baseball continued. Obviously, some of those short-term fixes going to what Mr. Campbell talked about, or Coach Campbell talked about, deep core aeration, standing and overseeding, earlier fertilizer and weed treatment program. That's kind of what we touched on a lot. Weed prevention applications, we touched on that a lot. Something that we do have a quote for that Mr. Coach Campbell expressed was cleaning up that brush area to the right of the varsity. If you're sitting at home plate, that right area of that brush going along that service drive there, cleaning that up. Foul balls get hit there all the time. We lose so many balls per year. He said if we ever clean that up, we'd probably find over 100 baseballs in there. He said the problem is there's ticks, there's this, there's that. They don't even send kids in there to get the balls anymore at this point. So something like that, I believe, was going to cost about $4 or $5 grand though, clean up that brush area. Then obviously we have to work something out to continuously get that extra area mowed after that as well, just to make sure that stuff doesn't come back. So that was something that we did get a quote on. This came up earlier in the year, just not in the budget right now this year to do that. It's definitely something we can look at doing moving forward though, for sure. And then it continues on from there. This is the last baseball slide. One of Coach Campbell's biggest concerns is that dugout. He's personally fixed that dugout from I'm going to mess up the year here, but many years ago, he fixed up that dugout himself with a couple other volunteers and everything else. The problem is that foundation is sliding again. You can see the crack going up the wall. Mrs. Vaughn walked it. We were out there last year talking about the same issue. You can see the crack going up the wall. I have pictures of the dugout itself, the crack. And you can tell that everything's transitioning a little bit. It's Michigan, right? But with that being said, structural shifting and foundation heaving, water runoff entering the dugout area, broken concrete and aging infrastructure. Mr. Campbell, Coach Campbell, has talked about redoing that dugout, trying to work with the community, work with the athletic department, work within his fundraiser funds to use that to fix up that dugout area and make it a place where kids are happy to hang out and be a part of it. In basketball, our recent basketball coach turned a water office into a basketball coach's office. Has a couch in there, has a TV installed in there. On game day, the kids would be sitting in there. It's one of the happiest moments that I saw. Kids sitting in there, hanging out before a game, relaxing. TV's up, they have film up there, and they're having a good time. I think Coach Campbell kind of has that same idea there, just to make it a place that's inclusive for baseball players to hang out, happy to be a part of it, and come on out. Obviously for equipment storage as well. Future consideration, obviously, I think every single one of us would like that, is trying to find a way to get a JV baseball field on site here at Almont. And then obviously, one positive note Coach Campbell expressed was the appreciation for recent district support regarding annual maintenance materials. When I came into this position, we were not paying for Diamond Dust. We were not paying for Quick Dry. We were not paying for any of that extra stuff. So something we did right away was when I came in last year was, I didn't care what it looked like in the budget. I would have used our own internal account funds, and if those weren't there, we would have found a way. But I'm not going to ask a sports team here to pay for those maintenance materials. So something we started to do. Okay, now on to the positives. So this is our spring sport update. Softball's only has a few wins on the season. With that being said, Coach, a lot of these are going to be quotes from coaches, so I try not to read to you guys directly. I apologize if I'm going to on some of this, but I'll try to summarize as best as I can. Our senior night was a success as we honored our two seniors, Gabrielle Carson and Emma Campbell. Although our record may not show it, our girls are competing and continuing to improve every day. Track team. Track team's a club team here. Mr. Rose runs that. With that being said, they have 24 members this year. They had about that same number last year from 2025 to 2026. With that being said, same dates, June for the state competition, July for the national competition. You have 6 on the coaching staff with 12 extra parents, volunteering to to run these shooting events. It takes a village when you're doing all of that. It takes a lot of safety, a lot of precautionary measures, as you guys can probably assume. So it definitely takes a lot of parents to be involved to run that club and organization. But something Mr. Rose shared with me this year, he was very happy to hear that, or he was one of them, very happy to share that 3 of them went through with an NRA RSO certification, range safety officers, essentially is what that certifies. And that's just an extra measure to make sure that everyone's being safe, nothing's happening out of the ordinary. Track team continued. They formed a nonprofit organization to help offset student costs this year. Main thing, I cut a lot of the snippet out. The main summarization is ammo costs a lot of money. They shoot a lot of plays, and they shoot a lot of shells. And just to help offset some of that cost, those costs are astronomical to the families. There was a few student athletes that felt like they couldn't go out for track due to that, cost. So trying to help offset that cost to get more students involved with track. 4 shooting at a varsity average of 19 out of 25 plays. We'll hopefully be awarding some varsity letters pinned to the conclusion of the season. Team has another 5 more within a 1-point average, moving to varsity. Per a parent at the fundraiser on May 8th, thank you so much for forming this team. Our child isn't much into sports or other extracurricular activities, plus has a difficult time fitting in as a very quiet, reserved kid. Tried various things, wasn't really for them. They have truly found their passion in shooting sports. We are seeing a whole different kid, a confident and excited to be a part of something kid. Girls soccer, just last Friday, I was at the game at Richmond. They won it's an inaugural thing that we did with girls soccer this year as athletic directors in the BWAC. It used to be around back in the day. Girls soccer coaches voted on it to bring it to us as athletic directors. From us then it goes to principals, from principals it goes to superintendents. It was eventually approved to start a BWAC league tournament. So we play each school, typically like boys soccer right now, or boys soccer next year. We'll play each school twice in the BWAC. So that's 14 conference games. You have 18 total games, so you can only schedule 4 non-league games. Girls soccer coaches wanted to see more non-league games. So they went through, and so we play each school once for girls soccer in the BWAC, so that's 7 games. And then from there, we do an end of the season tournament. So I'm happy to share that our girls were 7-0 heading into that tournament, and they did a 3-0 sweep throughout that tournament at Richmond High School, Monday, Wednesday, Friday last week, to take home the BWAC championship. And perfect undefeated record within the BWAC, 13-2 record overall. Those 2 losses are 2 top 10 schools in their division, much bigger than us. Lance Cruz North is one. I'm going to forget the second one, and Coach Kempler would probably be mad at me if I'm not going to be able to remember it off the top of my head. Obviously, a very strong out-of-conference schedule. We go and play anybody and everybody. That helps prepare the girls for playoffs, and we have a very, very tough playoff district. Once we get outside districts for the most part, with Frankenmuth, Regina, and some of those powerhouse schools, Flint Powers, and some of those powerhouses. And then currently right now we're saying we're the #1 seed in our district. Track and field. Coach Boholsky shared this message with me. The varsity boys track team has had a successful season with many outstanding performances from our student athletes. As a team, the boys finished as champions at the County Press Invitational, runners-up at the Davison Twilight Classic, runners-up at the Marlette Invitational, and runners-up at the Dryden Cardinal Classic Invitational. At the BWAC Championships, the Raiders finished 5th despite being the smallest school in the conference. Junior Colton, I'm going to mess up names, and I'm not even going to try. You help me, Coach Ribs. Thank you. Captured the BWAC title in the 800-meter run and also anchored the Raiders' fastest 4x400-meter relay team since the 1995 season and the fastest 4x800-meter relay team since the 1997 season. On the 4x400 relay, Colton was joined by Matthew Boholsky, Johnny Rowland, and Adam St. Ange. On the 4x800 relay, Colton was joined by Jamin Suter, Ben Klein, and Adam St. Ange. The varsity girls, despite only having 9 athletes, have fared well against the same competition. The 4x800 meter relay team of Lele Evola, Charlotte, thank you, Serena Evola, Ella Tesla, and sometimes Taylor Stanzak has been the highlight of the season for the girls, frequently finishing at or near the top in each meet, including a first place finish at the Dryden Cardinal Classic Invitational. Middle school track. The middle school track team is currently preparing for the BWAC championship meet. Coach Boholsky shared a lot of different student athletes that had PRs. I couldn't fit all that in there, so tried to summarize it the best we could. The Raiders finished in second place at the Yale Co-Ed Relays, winning 6 of the 15 events with many outstanding performances. Amelia Sago has smashed the school record in the 55-meter hurdles and the 200-meter hurdles while joining forces with Mary Wangler, Viola Wangler, and Nora Battaglia to destroy the 4x400-meter relay school record. The boys 4x100-meter relay team of Jackson Maxwell, Grady Sam, Elijah Arredondo, and Aiden Felt had also recently broke the school record. We have already qualified 10 athletes for the West Michigan Megastar Championships, and with more athletes likely to qualify in the next week. Coach Wade, Coach Klein, Coach Bristol, Coach Van Dyke, Coach Boholsky number 2, and Coach Cunningham have been impressed with all the student athletes during this cool and damp track season. Track season, those guys freeze out there. Those guys and girls. I give it to them. They go no matter what, and they continue going no matter what. Girls tennis, Coach Bishop here. I'm really proud of the progress this team has made over this season. Wins and losses are always part of the story, but what's most impressive is the growth in learning, effort, and competitiveness from our athletes. Week after week, they've improved and truly embraced the process, learning to compete at a higher level, support each other, and handle adversity the right way. Those things might not always show on the scoreboard, but they're laying the groundwork for long-term success. They've had a lot of individual accomplishments this year as well. First singles player finishing second in the league, and our third singles player placing third in the league. Those results are a reflection of the hard work and commitment the athletes have put in throughout the season. I believe the work being done now is setting us up well for next year with valuable experience, developing young athletes, and building a strong culture that will pay off down the road. Our girls go for regionals on Thursday, so they miss school all day. That's the way the MHSA regionals are. And they go and compete on Thursday at Brandon High School. Baseball. Through 22 games, the varsity baseball team is 10-12 overall. I'm happy to share that they got their first, they got a league win in their first of 2 games today, as well as JV baseball getting a win in their first of 2 games today against Croswell Lexington. They're 5-5 in the conference. That would be 6-5 now. The players have told me that they have the top 5 toughest schedule in Division III baseball, as we've only played a handful of D3 schools this year. Coach Campbell always goes and seeks out some really tough out of league play as well. The bulk of our contests have been against Division I and Division II schools. Additionally, we are competing at the highest level with sophomores and juniors, with only 1 injured senior on the team. Could easily be 14-8 based on 1-run losses. Additionally, we have a ton of freshmen on the JV team that are learning a ton from Coach Brad and Coach Bell. Brad Lee and Coach Bell. Wins and losses cannot measure the progress the JV team has made. Our goal for the remainder of the season is to win out in conference play, which would put us in the top 3 in the BWAC and to win the first district since 2021. We have the talent to do it. Boys golf, Coach Ball. Boys golf team had another tremendous turnout this year. They have 20 on the roster. I'm going to summarize this one. Coach Ball and I talked a lot today. Essentially, the numbers were astronomical. We had, I think, over 35 signed up for boys golf, to the point where Coach Bone was looking at me this year going, I don't know what to do, and I don't know how I'm going to do it, to be honest with you. It's a lot of kids and everything else. So I'm not going to say luckily, because obviously we want everyone to participate that's interested, but those numbers were not the full 35 once we got to that point. But we do have a lot of kids out there. They're not doing the top of the BWAC. They're on that bottom half of the BWAC as far as league standings. But there's so many young kids out trying to golf. A lot of kids for the first time. And Coach Bone was very pleased with that, and obviously growing and continuously teaching those kids. Coach Bone, as I told some of you guys before the board meeting started today, I think he's one of the best coaches. When talking with other schools, Coach Bone's very well known. He's on the board for golf at the state level, and he's amazing for our kids. He does amazing things. Some of our college signings, just to end it out, we have Sean O'Neill with his mom and dad there, who committed and signed to Grand Valley State University to kick for football. We have Gabe and Bashkeem, who just signed, I think that was last week. All my weeks are blending together now. I think that was last week. To go to St. Clair Community College to play soccer, which was awesome to see. Those are 2 kids that really embody soccer, and I got to grow really close with last year throughout my time here, and seeing them finally be able to commit. They had a coach change So they kind of lost that opportunity. And then within 2 weeks, that coach, re-offered and everything was good there. So seeing them be able to go on was a great thing as well. And then lastly, Lola and Natalia. Lola is one of our girls soccer players. She's committed and signed to Wayne State University. It'll be one of the first years of their soccer program there. So she's very excited to be a part of that. And then Natalia, who signed with Rochester Christian University as well. So there'll be a lot more girls soccer players continuously coming through. Obviously, we have a very good program, but both those. Coach Kepler also took over our boys program, so I'm expecting to see that from the boys side as well moving forward. That's all I got for you.
Thank you so much, Zach, for being here. Zach, before I forget, will you make sure that you share that with Jill, please, just so that she can put it in the drive for reference for the board. So there's a lot of information, again, when we're talking about facilities and athletic updates and requests. It's nice to see that.
I do have a full copy and paste from, that's very bright, copy and paste from coaches directly. This in a document. Obviously, I'm trying to summarize it and clean that up a little bit for the facility needs. I can share that exact document with you guys at that school. It's not cleaned up and pretty, but it has exactly what it
You can just share it with Jill, Zach, and she'll make sure it's in the drive. Thank
Perfect.
you.
I have a question.
Yes.
So for baseball, you said that is it one dugout? Is it all the dugouts, or is it that?
One more time, I'm sorry.
For baseball, you said that you referenced dugout. Is it a?
The varsity home dugout,
The
yes.
home dugout.
That's the one that has the foundational issues right now. I'm going to be honest with you, I've been in that away dugout maybe once or twice. I haven't seen any cracks or anything in there from the away side, but I can verify with Coach Campbell as well.
Okay, and then for the girls softball, for the batting cage tear down, do we have a cost on that at all?
No, we spoke about it about 4 years ago,
Okay.
but nothing happened.
They make prefab ones. George Tenza helped us with our baseball one
Yep.
at the varsity field. So kind of you can get a little bit more bang for your buck and make it a little bit more cost effective with making it yourself versus a prefab. But
I guess some of my questions would be like, A, if we reach out to Mr. Tencha to see if he'd be interested in getting a price for that or working with us on that, to start with that. And then B, like, is it still in the place where we want it to be?
I can talk with Coach Forty on that,
Right.
just making sure it doesn't impact any other sports,
Right.
as it goes through. Shouldn't be too big of an issue there. It is close to the tennis facility there, so I know when I spoke to Coach Forty, right now it's set up where it's very small. It's not ideal under any situation necessary even to build it up from where it's at now, but you only have so much. You'd like to go a few lanes wide, obviously, on that, and you have that hill going up to the tennis facility right there. It'd be hard to squeeze in anything more than probably a 2-lane cage where it's currently at right now. I think even that might be pushing it. So we can take a look at that in regards to how much space is needed per lane, of that batting cage. I think we'd be pressed to try to fit more than 2 lanes there or whatever.
Do you think that we could get an update on that in June, Jason, maybe, as far as like, because of that, to me, that seems like something that could get done with summer, so that way it's prepped and ready for our softball program next year or whatever. So if we just get maybe an update in June, to see if Mr. Tencha would be willing to work, maybe Mr. Eckert can work with, doing the girls softball program, first and assistance, something like that, or whatever, because you guys would be able to use it too, obviously. So, I just kind of thinking a couple things out, that maybe we could get done. So that
Absolutely.
we're not having the same conversation again next spring.
Yeah,
And
no, absolutely.
nothing got done or whatever. For the tennis courts, you said, the weed whipping, so is that something that we can add into the current?
Yeah, Jason, Mr. Frederick and I
Okay.
spoke on that at length, and essentially all I was asking is to throw some weed killer down on the courts where it's growing up in between the cracks on the courts. He said
Okay.
at one point he imagines it was grass and kind of the weeds that just came through at this point now. Spraying some weed killer down and just taking care of that area, re-racking that area. We talked with Pulinski as well and trying to make sure that area would be taken at least when requested from Coach Shane.
Okay, and then how's the paint held up? Is that still looking good on the color?
Yeah, the paint looks good. Obviously, those cracks there's a reason they're cracking, right?
I didn't ask you about those.
And so those are still there. I mean, they're covered. but obviously those are, you know, still shifting, and that's there. The paint has held up now.
I just want to say thank you. I thought this was super helpful as an update overall for like what the coaches are saying and their needs and stuff like that. And I think it will help building insight too, right, Mr. Burrell, to know some of these things to kind of put on our radar and everything.
Absolutely.
Yeah, thanks, Ed.
Yep, absolutely.
And from my perspective with what you just, it sounds like you found a few low-hanging fruits you've already started to tackle.
Yeah,
Just with that.
the smaller ones that we can work with
Yeah.
within the budget, you know,
Yeah.
that we have without adding anything into the budget, requesting more money.
Yeah.
We obviously have an internal account fund through athletics as well.
Yeah.
That has some good money in it right now, and trying to tackle some of these off, you know, sidebar projects with it. My full intent with the money and letting it build up was to try to tackle the storage area, which that did not come up in this, but in the high school, as soon as you enter the main gym, there's a little storage area right to the left where a lot of coaches, spring coaches, winter coaches live in there. No fall coach has anything to do with it, but that's where we store our jerseys, equipment, all that stuff. It is little old cubicles that were made probably out of OSB, I'm assuming, and I'm not going to say they're falling apart, but they're definitely an eyesore now, and they're little tiny square cubicles, and it doesn't fit a jersey. You got to fold up jerseys, put a tote in there. One tote takes up a whole cubicle, so now you have 4 multi-cubicles with 4 different locks, everything else. So they make obviously a lot more modernized stuff with storage solutions and stuff. I'm not a carpenter by any means, so it's not like I can go in there and, you know, start cutting plywood away and building new, long, tall, you know, closets, but that'd be the most cost-effective way to go about that and fixing that issue. But obviously there's nice, you know, storage locker solutions for that area. That cost on that is $20K plus, probably to go about that. So that takes some fundraising or a lot of people working together to make something like that work for us. But that was a consistent point, and that as well as just the lack there of storage space and how it's situated in, you know, the square cubicles versus long storage options.
Sorry, I don't know if you're done.
Yeah, I was just going to say, this, Ms. Smith said, thank you for doing this presentation, and I just want to recommit, like, some of these issues, this is like, as a board member, this is the first time I've ever heard it, because the coaches don't come here very often.
Absolutely.
And I just want to say, like, don't be afraid to bring this stuff to us. Yes, I understand it's $20K, but if we don't know about it, there's no way we can work it into a future budget.
Absolutely.
And I would like to at least try to work on, I understand we can't do the whole list that was up there, but I'd like to start trying to hit some of these if we can in future budgets.
The storage option one, obviously, in my opinion, as an athletic director, I'm sure you guys probably share the same thing. As far as bang for your buck, yes, you're getting the storage area and stuff, and it's going to look nice and yada, 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 but it doesn't impact kids. And that's my view as an athletic director. I want to start, if we're going to do a bigger project or look at how we can all work together on bigger projects, my answer at least is what impacts kids the most? What's the biggest shared space issue of those issues that will impact the most amount of kids, and try to tackle it from there. Thought about doing golf outings as a fundraiser for our whole athletic department. Those do really well in the schools that I've been at prior to here. There's a night at the races and stuff like that. So those were initial ideas that when I got into this role last year that I really planned on doing. And why if I told you that I've fallen short and just different issues and different things and not getting around to that, but that's stuff that I'd like to try to do to try to bulk those athletic funds to do it ourselves, essentially through the fundraiser avenue and bring the community together.
I just have one more question. So you kind of mentioned, I guess, when you with the baseball and got about the diamond dust.
Yeah.
So are all the athletic teams now provided, and obviously, I know they're all different, right? There's tennis ball to do tennis, or tennis to do tennis ball and stuff like that. So all the programs is all now coming from athletic?
Yeah, you'll see that, and that was on the budget report that we just kind of analyzed and went through. Something new that we did for track and cross country this year with Coach Wade is going through and paying for all those entry. That was another thing that when I first came into this role, teams paying for their own tournaments and non-league stuff through fundraiser dollars. I'm not saying that's the worst thing in the world, but I don't like that personally. So we tried to carve out room in the budget this year to pay for those entry fees for different sports. So softball, baseball, playing 1 to 2 tournaments, golf, cross country, and track are the 3 main, sports that require those extra competitions. Cross country, you have 3 total leagues. So that's all you get. So everything else is non-league. So you got to go and find those. You got to pay to be a part of them, or you got to host your own, and you're paying to host your own. Same with track and field this year. We actually had 2 home middle school meets and 1 home high school meet this year for track and field. Everything else, you either pay to host your own, or you go outside and pay to enter a meet. Volleyball is a huge sport with Saturday like tournaments and stuff. You're going to pay to host your own. So, you know, there's a few sports where it impacts the most as far as entry fees and that type of stuff goes. But as far as those necessities, last year and this year we bought basketballs for basketball, tennis balls for tennis, soccer balls for soccer. We didn't get as many soccer balls this year as we bought last year. Soccer balls are crazy expensive, something I found out in the shop. We bought over $1,200 worth of baseballs and over $1,200 worth of softballs last year for our baseball and softball team, because they were very down bad when I came into this job. So just trying to find ways to impact it, to keep that cost off of our athletic programs as a whole. And there's and them using fundraiser dollars for things like that, like entry fees and necessary mandatory equipment. And instead opening that up so those teams, when they do have their fundraiser dollars, could possibly go with some of these bigger projects or do some of these other things that they've been wanting to do.
So Zach, do you meet with every coach then, like through like at the end of their season?
I meet with every coach in the beginning. So something that was done when I first came into this job was full fall, winter sport coach meetings with everyone together as a collective. I don't like that as much. I ask my coaches, they like more of the single one-on-one, because we go through their wants and needs, and I have a checklist that I'm organized with, that I check off everything that we need to talk about, concerns that I have from the last exit meeting we talk about. And I have everything right there, and it's one-on-one, so it's more of that setting where they can ask questions, get their questions answered, and other things like that. So I meet with every single coach before their season, and I eval and meet with every single coach for their exit meeting. Varsity head coaches, sorry.
And then the varsity one.
Varsity head coaches that meet and evaluate the staff underneath them.
Okay,
Yes,
yeah.
that goes all the way down from a JV coach to a middle school coach.
I gotcha. Thank you. Very, very helpful.
Yep,
Thank you so much.
absolutely.
Zach, thanks for
I don't know how to disconnect at this point, but maybe the same button. Mr. Burrow's gonna make fun of me if I don't figure it out soon.
You should be able to exit out.
Windows K.
I did Windows 10.
But the disconnect is down at the bottom. You have to do it again.
Yeah.
Oh,
I learned early.
if I shut it, let us go.
Trial and error.
Yep.
As long as Windows never changes.
That's right.
Thanks, Zach.
Yeah,
Thank
absolutely.
you.
Absolutely.
We'll have fun at your basketball meet and greet.
Yes,
What's next?
a little bit late for that one, but we're gonna run over there and
Appreciate your time.
absolutely.
Yeah. I'm just waiting to get booted up here. It's coming in. He has to allow access for me. Hey, Colin. Let's try again. Is that the same screen?
It's gonna take a second.
There we go.
Thank you. Thanks. Karen. Okay. Some hit those. Good to go. All right, so continuing on here, just more of an announcement for rate of recognition for our board meeting. We will have both Mrs. Howe and Mrs. Howey there. Cindy Howe is our high school interventionist, and Stephanie Howey is our director of student success at OP. They will be presenting there, and I have the tiered system there because they're going to talk about interventions and share some data with you, some student impact, which I think you'll be happy to see. And then we also have Mrs. Cobb and her student grader reps will be presenting as well. So that is coming up. And that's Mrs. Cobb there. being a good citizen, as we know OP students are. Preschool update, I just wanted to provide a quick update of where we're at right now. So really kind of at capacity, if you will, at this time of year. We have up to like the 20 spots, and so we do like to reserve 3 spots in each classroom, making sure that all of our families, and especially with the GSRP, there are guidelines and regulations there. We want to make sure that we have open spots for our most, whether it's at-risk students getting into the program. We want to leave those open spots. So right now, as you can see, each of the programs, both GSRP classrooms are at 17. Hopefully, again, we'll have the 20 spots. We already have families calling, waiting, I guess you could say on a wait list to get in. So I just lost connection again here. But just wanted to let you know kind of where the status is. So we're in really good shape, again, to fill our preschool rooms. And then that window will open up in July so we can get those filled. So I wanted to give you a...
When does that school start? Does it start right from the first day?
No, so typically I believe it's a week after Labor Day. They start like a week or so, week or 2 after Labor Day.
Ms. Smith, for the preschool GSRP, do we have the numbers of how well we retained the 40 students that were in the program this year going into kindergarten?
I don't have that number for you, but I can see what that transition looked like.
Could you,
Yeah, of course.
an update?
Yeah.
That'd be
Yes,
great.
I can do that. Thank you for the
Great.
reminder. Okay. Still not? It's okay. It's really okay. I just, it's very brief anyway, so it's not a big deal. Thank you, Colin. It's okay. I just wanted to provide also a staffing update, our vacancies. Obviously, superintendent search is ongoing. We have a OP principal vacancy, Almont High School principal vacancy, as we received Mr. Spears' resignation letter as of recent, and that's in our board packet. The Almont High School head secretary position is going to be open as Mrs. Brown has transitioned to be our athletic director and Dean of Students currently secretary. We do have 1 OP special ed parapro position open, 1 OP lunch aid, 1 OP recess aid, and we have 2 AMS special ed parapros. So just wanted to kind of give you the heads up of where we're at with those vacancies. I do know, just a quick update as far as getting interviews going for the head secretary at the high school. As Mrs. Brown's going to be transitioning to the other position, we want to get that one posted. It was posted, but then the interviews are going to start next week. So I have that confirmed on Tuesday and Thursday of next week, just FYI. I was asked to make sure that we have SRO discussion here with everything and all the talks going on with the township and the village. I can just tell you, I probably can't share a whole lot because nothing's been confirmed or decided yet by the village and the township, but there's ongoing good conversations. They're getting closer. They're very confident that we are going to proceed with having our SRO in place for next year. Yes, I don't have a promise. I don't have it in writing, but I wanted to bring it to your attention. I just spoke with both Gary and Dale from the township and the village today, and it sounds hopeful. And I just wanted to bring that to the table, but I don't know if there's other discussion that the board wanted to bring to the attention now.
I think we just wanted to apprise the situation as much as we can be.
Sure. Yes.
There's still a lot of conversation there.
There's a lot of conversation. I do know, because they've asked to use our facility in the event, and I believe it's scheduled May 21st. It looks like there's a combined meeting potentially between the village and the township. Whether that meeting takes place or not, that's to be determined. In the auditorium, high school auditorium. Okay, so that is the latest update. Any other questions or comments about that? Okay. And then that brings me to President Smith's superintendent search update.
Okay, I just wanted to read a little statement. I wrote it down because there was a lot. All right. Good evening, members of the board, staff, and community. As board president, I wanted to take a moment to clearly outline where we stand in the superintendent search and the expectations I believe we must uphold as we move forward. This is one of the most consequential responsibilities entrusted to us. Selecting the next superintendent will shape the direction of our district for years to come. And it is essential that we approach this process with discipline, transparency, and unity of purpose. Last night, the board met and we invited 5 candidates to a first-round interview beginning next week. We would like to invite all stakeholders, parents, students, staff, and community members to attend the interviews and utilize the comment cards that will be available and go to the board after each interview. For further information on dates, interview schedule, and candidate resumes, please see the district's website and visit the superintendent search area. I would like to thank each board member as you have remained focused on our shared goals and continue to work hard to select the best candidate for the district. As we move to the next phase of the process, we must evaluate candidates based on their leadership qualities, experience, and vision that best serve this district, not on external pressures or assumptions. Our community expects us to act with professionalism and sound judgment, and that expectation is well placed. Finally, I want to thank everyone involved, our search firm, our staff, and our community. Your voices matter, and they are helping us build a clear picture of the leadership our district needs. I would like to thank Mrs. Van Heltmeyer for making this process seamless and providing assistance as needed. She remains constant in her leadership and continues to guide the district. As we move into the next phase of the search, I ask for continued patience, trust, and collaboration. We will keep the community informed at every appropriate step, and we remain committed to selecting a superintendent who will lead with integrity, innovation, and a deep commitment to student success. Next week, we will be meeting on Tuesday and Wednesday night to start interviews. Thank you. Okay. Questions and comments pertaining to the agenda from the audience? From the board. Mr. Burrow.
Just going back to the SRO, I know that there were some comments made at the township meeting last night by the township board. I just want to state that I felt the school was very well represented by our admin team. I was happy that the admin team was there. They were representing all of our teachers that were working diligently at 9 a.m. and couldn't make it. The parents that were all working at 9 a.m. and couldn't make it. The support staff, the students, they were there representing them. And there was a comment that they left our school completely unattended. And we have a great admin team, we have a great assistant admin team, we have a great team of students. The teachers know what they're doing. The school was not left unattended, and everything was fine with that. So I just want to say that.
Thank you, Mr. Burrow, for making that statement. I was a little disappointed to hear that statement.
Yeah, I don't think it represents the entire board's point of view, but I appreciate it, and I just want to make sure that was said.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
I agree with you, Mr. Burrow. Our admin definitely made the right decision to be there and advocate. So I appreciate
that.
Yeah,
And I agree that goes down also.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Unfinished business and work session, building and site.
Mr. Burrow.
Jason, did we get another PowerPoint tonight?
I did, but it will not let me connect either.
Oh, man.
Already disconnected. I already did.
When I did it just a minute ago, it said connecting exactly.
I bet he's still connected.
So he never shows us.
Yeah, that's all right. I don't have a whole lot, but I did have some pictures I wanted to show you, but we'll talk about them that way if you are in OP, you know what I'm talking about. Quick fire update for OP. We're still waiting on the wall mats. I did have communication with SETSEG. Their third-party investigator has concerns that the fire started within the air purifier unit itself, saying that it was not an electrical issue or wiring issue of the school. So, with that being said, we had both of those outlets replaced, the one that burnt, as well as Chief Smith wanted the other one replaced. They were both replaced by licensed electricians. So I know it was brought up last time in regards to using those because they are mounted inside of the wall mounts. When the fire marshal was here as well as the chief, they said that's not uncommon for schools to see that. So Since that announcement from SETSEG came down to me, I responded, put an email out letting people know that in the short term, we're not going to use the purifiers until we get a response and we get a clear definitive answer. SETSEG's third-party investigators reached out to the manufacturer. We're just waiting to hear back on that. So I did speak with the gym teacher at OP. There is a need to use that electricity. The fear is that using an electrical extension cord from another outlet somewhere else will pose another safety issue by having extension cords ran into the gym. So with that being said, and what came from SETSEG, with some certainty we can say that it would be okay to continue to use those. So in the gym, but it's up to you. Let me know. Collectively as a board, obviously. Update on the softball drainage. I did receive some further suggestions. I had a gentleman come out from our development group. Suggestion was to have the actual village come out to show them that it's not how they had said it in the message that our water runs into the field and then is picked up by a drain and taken down to the river, that water is actually pushing on our property. So that's something certainly in the future, when it gets bad like that again, we'll do. The other thing was suggested to speak with the property owner to let them know that, hey, this is what's going on. See if we can come up with any sort of agreement to rectify the situation. So, but of course, it's going to cost money. I reached out to Rick Doherty from Star Trek. He responded back stating that we will be the first on their list. We will most likely be there the second week in June. We'll give a set date, weather depending as it gets closer to that time. What I wanted to show overhead was, if you're familiar with OP and the gym and in the cafeteria, you've got the big round purple ductwork, looks like octopus.
You can try to connect again.
Yeah, I had reset it, yeah.
That'd be great. Yeah. Especially for my pictures. Let's go.
Let that her slideshow would go.
Okay. So this is an example of the ductwork and diffusers that are at OP in the gym as well as the cafeteria. And as you can see, there's 3 rings to this. A very inner, and then a middle, and then an outer ring. The outer ring, which is the largest, is permanently affixed to that ductwork. The center ring is then kind of at a 3 position. It kind of twists and locks on there. And then the smallest ring is then affixed to the middle ring. We had one fall off. Luckily, there was no children in the gym at the time. It was a lunchtime. I don't know why. We've had one fall off prior to me coming on district. We would make it a habit of checking them every summer. We actually had found one that I deemed to be unsafe at one point, and because that center one is affixed to it, we had to actually kind of snap it off. So leading up to this in January, we had fixed some of a damper in the ductwork, which then would cause us to have a greater CFM, more air that's pushing out of these. But even from this one here, you can see that center ring looks a little cattywampus. So what I decided to do, in an abundance of caution, was I took all of the diffusers down throughout the gym and the cafeteria. So if you go in there right now, you're going to see that there's nothing in the center. And again, that outer one right there is permanently fixed, screwed to the ductwork itself. It's going to have to wait until I can get up there, get back up there with a lift and some contractors to see what we can do, a more permanent fix. The existing ductwork's 28 years old. It's made of aluminum. There were safety chains that were attached to that middle one. Like I said, it kind of snaps in there on a 3-finger type attachment. But that smaller one really kind of wiggles, and it's like taking a piece of soft metal and eventually moving it and breaking. To give you a kind of a size comparison as to what those were, the center smallest ring is 14 and a half inches around, and the middle one is 29 inches around. So it's a fairly large piece of aluminum that we certainly wouldn't want somebody to fall down and get hit. It's approximately 23 feet out from the ground. So that's something that you can't plan for stuff like that. It just happens. That's it.
What's the fun here?
Checks written.
I did, I had a couple of them. Yes, check number 47407 at line 186. I don't know if that helps you, Kathy. or not, but I know you don't. Yes, we're not.
And that's for French. 47407?
That was over doing the bond.
Yes.
Correct. Okay, this is that the final payment?
That is,
Okay.
yes, for French associates, yes. Yes.
And then 47338.
Pink out shirts for softball.
And 47369.
BSN Sports, there's several things here. There's mostly hoodies and jackets for baseball, softball, tennis balls.
Just different, the different products for the,
Yeah.
right?
Yes, correct.
Those were my three. Thank you.
I just had one, Kathy,
Okay.
47400.
Conference supply, that's for HVAC supplies for the middle school. It's in Greek to me, but it's, let's see, globe valve, two-way, threaded NPT brass trim with soft seats.
Parts.
Thanks for the classroom unit.
AKA.
Parts is good.
Parts is good, thank you so
Yeah,
much.
thanks.
I had 47390.
47390, AR repairs, install thermo and knob, cooling thermostat, for OP it looks like.
Take a moment to look over account balances. Any questions? Take a moment to look over the student activity funds. Any questions? Kathy, with the preliminary budget.
I don't really have any updates, other than we met with the finance committee and discussed a few things that could be added, and that sheet is added to your fiscal year 27, 29 budgets in the drive. And we also did a scenario of other optional items on there as well.
I know Mr. Ray wasn't there that night, but two of the items that we had talked about adding back in was mailer, right?
The mailer.
The mailer
Yes.
for the non-homestead. Mr. Burns and I felt like that was really a non-negotiable, that needed to get back into the budget. it. And then the improved toilet paper, and that has been a request from students now for a little over a year. Is there another one, Kathy?
SRO officer for sporting events.
Yeah.
To pick up
That was under
this time,
possible items.
possible, yeah.
SRO funding, sporting events, K-12, social media, monthly monitoring. And there's some future items to consider at a full-time engagement, facilities, grounds for related to sports should be facilities by the director.
Possible where we can cut that and adjust. Right now, things are still staying stable, what Kathy had presented.
Thank you, Kathy. Moving on to policy, resignations, and retirements. The Board of Education may agree to a resignation retirement at any time after replacement if necessary, suitable to the school administration, and the board is obtained, provided that the circumstances underlying the resignation or retirement are valid in the opinion of the board and warrant a search for replacement. Colleen Ians has submitted notice that she'll be retired from her position as paraeducator at Orchard Primary effective July 31st, 2026. Addison Spear has submitted notice of his resignation as principal of Almont High School effective July 31st, 2026. Okay, thank you. Get the right numbers. All right, moving on to new hires. The Board of Education approves all personnel. Mr. Zimmerman is pleased to announce a GEX hire for boys varsity basketball coach. Ms. Lewis is pleased to recommend Melissa Nye for the role of preschool aide at Almont Middle School. Mr. Bruno is pleased to recommend Lauren Giannetti for the role of tuition-based preschool teacher at Orchard Primary. Kathy Merrifield is pleased to recommend Jennifer Hennege for the role of district accountant in the central office. Moving on to acknowledgement of graduating seniors and approval. The Board of Education has traditionally approved, acknowledged the list of seniors scheduled to graduate each school year. The facts: number one, the high school has provided a list of senior class students eligible to graduate in June. And number two, each of the students has successfully completed graduation requirements as outlined or will complete the requirements by the conclusion of the school year and is entitled to receive a diploma unless otherwise noted.
This list is everybody that is graduating.
This is the, yep, this is the complete list. Yep. All set? Yep, good, thanks. Okay. Moving on to the ISD, general fund budget. The revised school code requires the board to adopt a resolution expressing its support of or disapproval of the proposed ISD budget submitted by the intermediate school district. The Lapeer County ISD has proposed its operating budget for the 2026-27 school year. As required by law, the budget was submitted to the local constituent districts prior to May 1st for review. The Almont Board of Education has reviewed the budget. Number two, this is under fact. Section 380.624 of the revised school code requires each constituent school district's Board of Education to publicly adopt a resolution expressing its support of the ISD budget or expressing its disapproval of the budget prior to June 1st. Number three, should the board disapprove of the proposed budget, it must submit to the ISD board its specific objections and proposed changes. Number four, the attached document outlines the proposed changes as well as known and unknown factors. Thank you. Okay, moving on to our Neola policy updates. The board adopts bylaws and policies for organization and operation of the board and district. Bylaws and policies may be adopted, amended, or repealed at any meeting of the board, provided the proposed adoption, amendment, or repeal shall have been proposed at a previous board meeting, and once proposed shall have remained on the agenda of each succeeding board meeting until approved or rejected. Bylaw 0131.1. The facts: the district policy service, Neola, has provided updates for the following policy. This is the first read. We have policy 0100, definitions revised. Policy 1410, staff ethics revised. Policy 2370.01, online blended learning program, revised. Policy 2417, comprehensive school health education, revised. Policy 2418, sex education, revised. Policy 4210, staff ethics, revised. Policy 5316, wireless communication devices, revised. Policy 6320, purchasing, revised. Policy 6325, procurement, federal grants funds, revised. Policy 7540.09, artificial intelligence, revised. Policy 8120.09, volunteers, replaces policies 3120.09 and 4120.09. Policy 8402, emergency operations plan, revised. Policy 8655, specialized transportation for students with IEPs, this is new. And these have been uploaded in the Google Drive.
I think going through all these at once, most of them are just generic, box checking, stuff like that. Having that we haven't had a policy committee meeting this month, I have a ton of questions. I don't know if they're appropriate for here, or if we should table some of these policies for next.
So we've done it both ways, right? So we've done, in the past, we have brought the policies to the work session table, and because we really, I feel like re-implemented the policy committee within this last year, right? We've been setting those up at policy, so I'm comfortable however you would like to proceed, but because I didn't feel like, can pick one, I was like, well, I don't know what your questions are, Mr. Eckert, but I felt a lot of this is in step with what's currently in practice. So there wasn't a lot of outliers from my review, but we can definitely entertain them here for our first review, or if you'd like to table them, we can schedule a policy committee meeting. I'm good either way.
I mean, some of them are silly questions, but.
Well, nothing silly. There's no silly questions, Mr. Eckert, but if there are some that we could, maybe if there's some that are a little bit more discussion worthy or more review, more eyes on, maybe we could table those for the next one in June and then approve the rest that are on the list.
That's fair. Yeah, that's fair. Good. Knock most of these out with a single question. When you have so example 14, you have X's in some of the boxes. Does that mean we're getting rid of them, or we're selecting?
We're selecting them.
Okay.
Good question. And then if you see the strikeout that you'll see, like even if you, for example, policy, I'm just looking at 2370 for the online blended learning, when you see the strikeout, so it's not included in the update.
Okay.
Yep, but the X is definitely, we're going to be adding that.
Further, 6325, we went from 10K to 15K for micro, and then we added it, but it was $31,000. Questioning how we came about that number.
31, that's the state, I believe. That's the state guideline.
That's what I think.
That's correct.
Thank you.
They were just, to be honest, I mean, that was like, what, in October, I want to say? So we're just kind of got that Neola policy update late.
Okay. And then the contract price analysis portion from $250,000 to $350,000.
Are you in the same, I'm sorry, same policy?
Yeah, 6325. The district shall perform the cost of price analysis.
Including, if you do reference to that one, is that the October 1st he has for contract modifications in excess of the simplified acquisition threshold, currently $350,000 effective October 1st, 2025. So that went from 250 to 350. Does that ring a bell? That does not. Okay. So we could take that. How would we table that? We can look into that one for you. So let's table 6325. Yeah.
7540 is the next one. Maybe it's a closed AI which policy. Yeah, that's another. So section where you have closed AI, closed source proprietary AI, you struck through including but not limited to all the way to staff technology acceptable use and safety. We've kind of essentially brought that policy out. Can we table that one, or
We can table it, yeah, for sure.
120. So the AB 120 had a lot of updates to it. With the combination of the two, if we're okay with that, I'd like to also table that one. Take a look at that later.
For volunteers?
Yeah.
Sure. Yep.
And then we mentioned 8655 is brand new.
Yes,
Okay.
yes, that's correct.
Okay,
Are those the three?
I'll leave it up to,
Unless there's something
Jamie,
additional.
you think we should table or do you think we should continue?
And this came with a direct, like a suggestion from Neil, right?
Yeah.
We don't have that one at all, or 8655?
8655 is brand new.
Okay.
Yeah, which is in step with, currently, I think they wanted to embed it in policy. We have to provide transportation for our special ed students. Yeah, for FAPE.
So the three would be 6325, 7540, and 8120, correct?
Yes.
Table is three.
We're gonna do one.
Yeah, absolutely. And then, Mr. Rucker, could you follow up with an email at your convenience, just with specific questions about those? So I can make sure that or Jamie or sorry, Mr. Wade or Ms. Smith, if you want to follow up with some questions regarding those, I'll see if I can get those answers for next month.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Depending on the questions, if they are able to get them more there, kind of on the depth that they have to go in, we may be able to have them answered by Monday meeting. I think if we don't have to have a lot of discussion on them, maybe we'll move one, if not all three, for Monday meeting to go back in. I don't know what the questions are.
So make a decision to remove them from
Yeah, so
like
based
on
on what
Monday.
based on what he asks and what the answer might be, if make the recommendation to say, okay, I think this is the answer, and see if we can move one or all of them, or if they do need to table.
Just so that we don't have to necessarily revisit. I can certainly do that.
It's
I
fine.
can try.
Do you want those questions to come to you on the committee, or do you want to do
You can do it on the Q&A, that way everybody from the board can see.
Okay, yeah, well, because I didn't have time to.
No worries. No, it's okay. No worries. I know that it's been done differently, like in the past, like we've had these Neola updates, they come in bulk a couple times a year, so it's probably the first time, one of the first times you're seeing it like in the bulk like this. Yeah.
Smith? Yeah, they're fine.
Yeah.
One of the recommendations is to rescind policies 3120 and 4120. That ties in with 8120, so make sure that that gets, it doesn't get answered, that we don't read that motion at the regular meeting. If it gets answered, then we'll go back in.
Good catch.
Okay.
So is that recommended 3.0 minus those three policies and the two replacement policies?
All set? Okay. Policy 6220 update. The board adopts bylaws and policies for organization and operation of the board and district. Bylaws and policies may be adopted, amended, or repealed at any meeting of the board, provided the proposed adoption, amendment, or repeal shall have been proposed at a previous board meeting, and once proposed, shall have remained on the agenda of each succeeding board meeting until approved or rejected. Bylaw 0131.1. The superintendent and policy committee have provided the following recommendation. This is the first read. This is again policy 6220. The board shall ensure that adequate funds are reserved for the general fund to maintain a secure financial position whereby the fund equity shall not fall below the 7% fund balance as a percent of revenues.
Can I ask one clarifying question? If we were to have a large expense that occurred that would drop us below that fund balance, with the administration's action, we can take out a loan then, rather than use the general fund? Like if we had like a major issue,
We
like.
have to change the policy.
Yeah.
I mean, right, Mr. Reed, we have to change the policy. Don't have to be discussed out of that.
Okay.
The finance, and
That's fine.
our rationale, so we had talked about how some of us had thought it was actually 10%, but the policy is actually 7%, and we talked about changing it. somebody had mentioned going 15%. We felt with the world the way that it is today, that 7% does allow us to continue, to have a little more fluid ability to spend funds and stuff as needed. So if we were to have to go below 7, we would have to change that.
Okay.
And in the past, during the COVID year, they did do that. They made a recommendation to change it to 5% for 1 year.
Okay.
And then go back. So that would be something that should be needed. We have that flexibility to do that.
Okay. Thank you.
Moving on to professional development committee. Effective October 1st, 2019, Section 101 of the State School Aid Act was amended to include new provisions. Local education agencies, both traditional and charter, may count up to 38 hours of professional development for teachers as hours and days of pupil instruction if all of the listed requirements are satisfied. Professional development of any length may count as instructional hours, but to count as an instructional day, it must exceed 5 hours in a single day per subsection 10A. We would like to count some, 30 hours, of our professional development time as instructional time. To do this, an advisory committee must be appointed to make sure all the legal requirements are satisfied. And just a pointed note, we have a PD committee meeting coming up on Thursday, actually right here in the middle of the middle school.
Yeah, the advisory committee, is that just the admin and the teachers?
We also invite parents and support staff to participate as well. Moving on to teacher change in pay. In order to be eligible to advance from one lane on the salary schedule to a higher lane, a teacher must make written proof of the completion of courses and/or degree requirements in the form of an official transcript of credits from the institution from which the credits were earned. Master agreement between the Board of Education and the Almont Education Association. Ethan McAllister is moving from BA 18 to Masters. Good, thank you. Just wanted to make sure, as part of the board operating procedures, that you receive an update from MyKIP. So that is a May update. And just wanted to, I did kind of wrote a statement. I'll just summarize this, if you will. I thought it would be helpful, again, as we have some newer board members. First of all, what does MyKIP stand for? It's kind of long. So the Michigan Integrated Continuous Improvement Process, which is a statewide framework designed to help school districts assess needs, identify areas for growth, implement improvement strategies, and monitor progress over time. What I have in bold print, again, in summary, is to what we wanted to do administratively, coming in, especially a few years ago when I first walked in as superintendent, to make sure that the MyKIP platform was done with fidelity. And so knowing what our needs at the time and continue to be, we identified the goal as surrounding ELA. So our goal is to provide the necessary resources and professional development to improve state and national assessment scores by 5% by 2030. And we did select ELA as our first priority, which is great because there's been a lot of work, as you know, has gone into getting the appropriate resources and impactful resources to move our student achievement forward. So with that, as you know, especially starting with our elementary and even our pre-K, but our pre-K through 5, our early literacy and our foundation, starting with those grade levels, implementing the Amplify CKLA. It's been great with the help of Principal Bruno, Principal Lewis, Kathy Merrifield, making sure that we had the grant from that 35M grant to secure that. So that has all been part of our efforts in securing these resources and professional development, which is reaching our goal within the MyKIP system. So I just kind of want to put it out there that it's always an ongoing thing about, and I'm glad that they continue to use that word, continuous, because it's always ongoing. You're always going to be looking to move the needle and show that improvement. But first, I don't care what core area you're talking about, you need to make sure that the district has secured the appropriate resources so that you can see the gains in student achievement. And so I think we're really doing well in that area. What I would like to see, my recommendation, my push, my urge, as I will be exiting here soon and retiring, but I want to encourage the board just to keep it on your radar that, again, we want to make sure if we're going to say ELA, that's K-12, that's across, it's not just elementary, but it's also secondary. So we need that instructional leadership. So as your new superintendent is hired and is brought on, of course, instructional leadership, student achievement is always going to be a priority, but that secondary, again, we want to make sure that there's a focus there too. A lot of attention has been on the elementary right now because that's where the grant has been and secured, and that makes sense. And just so, again, full transparency, sometimes, whether it's science, as you know, we have a Kerner grant and L&L, and a lot of times that gets pushed at the secondary level. My only point in saying this is that you want to keep things consistent. You want to make sure you have strong programming, resources for K-12 across the board. You'll see your student achievement continue to thrive. Keep an eye on that. So just wanted to put that out there. I also wanted to share that some of the other gains that we have made in this area for ELA, of course, with our interventionists at the high school, which is great. That is secondary, and that is about Cindy Howe is coming to present on Monday. Stephanie Howie from the OP, again, really showing some great impact and making a difference with our students. So whether it's getting them to go on that stage for graduation, or helping the foundation of that literacy at OP. There are great things being done. I hope I hope Almont can retain those ladies forever. So we have that going on. We also have implemented, another push has been that SIOP and making sure that our ELL, our English, limited English speaking students are also getting the intervention that they need at whatever level that they're entering. And right now we have identified teacher leaders at every level. So I hope that continues as well, as I think that will make an impact. So I just wanted to share that with you. There is, again, a little bit of a breakdown there, so you have that for your reference. Any questions?
Thank you.
Go ahead.
So there's the second questions and comments from the audience. Questions and comments from the Board of Education.
Mrs. Smith?
Burrow.
I would just like to commend administration, those leaving and those staying, for all the work they've done to get all these graduating students through. Very, very high success rate this year, which is always great. So thank you for that. We appreciate it.
I would like to congratulate our girls varsity soccer team. I think that is quite an accomplishment. I know their team has been really emerging over the last couple of years, so very, very exciting for them. Future agenda items.
This is just an update, if we get an update on where are we at with the safety plan update.
Just reading, we're not here last meeting, I believe, the work session. There's been some change at the state level, unfortunately, and so it is delaying a little bit more. What's the new change?
It's from the I Love You guys from the Michigan State Police. So there's training offered, and so the admin and I'm attending that training too in June, just so I can be as helpful as I can before I exit in June. But that verbiage EOP really takes effect like July 1st, so it's going to be a tricky transition. Jill is very aware. Jill and I have been working very closely on the EOP as far as the updates. The document itself is in good shape. There's going to be a few additional, whether it's cell phone, because that is also state law to get the cell phone in there, but also making sure that our verbiage matches what the law is requiring us to do. So that is kind of in translation right now. We have some, Dr. Kalmar at the ISD has coordinated some safety training, if you will, or transition training for the safety, and I Love You guys verbiage is set up that training for us in other surrounding school districts so we can all learn together how that's going to merge.
Thank you.
Yep.
Questions? Any other future agenda items? Mr. Burrow.
Mrs. Smith, just so that we have it, I know we already asked for it, but the update based off of Mr. Zimmerman's presentation, and I know that you had asked Mr. Brother to work on a couple of quotes to keep that on the agenda, and then I know that you won't be able to get all the quotes they asked for by June, but if we could get like a running list of what the coaches asked for, I don't know if Mr. Zimmerman would provide it for you or joint, just so we have like a running list of what those costs would be just for the athletic program. I think it would be Mr. Zimmerman.
Okay, he'll be working on it. Sounds like it's already working.
Yeah, it sounds like it's already going forward, just to make sure it's on the agenda.
Any other future agenda items?
Mrs. Smith?
Mr. Burrow.
I move the Board of Education adjourn the May 12th, 2026 work session at 7:35 PM.
Support.
Motion and support, any discussion? All in favor?